What's up, everyone, and welcome to episode 205 of Two Amazon Sellers and a Microphone, brought to you by Solozo. And today is going to be a lot of fun. Chris, we love talking about flipping. Brings us back to some of the things that we started with.
Good old days, right?
Good old days. And I just love hearing stories. There's so many people that do this and to this day and just make a ton of money flipping it. They've got the art dialed in on what they're looking for and how they're selling it. And we're going to dive deep into it. We're going to cover a lot of other things too, like networking and how important that is in this space, and online arbitrage and all these other different avenues we're going to go down. We don't know where it's going to go. But joining us, and we're super excited to have on, is Billy Flips. What's up? That name is awesome.
Thank you.
Billy Flips. Yeah. I mean, there's no way you can forget that.
My original Instagram name was like my last name, and it was just like I wanted to change it so something that was people could recognize.
That's recognizable and memorable. So Billy Flips, we are glad you're here to talk about this. We love it. It's always fun. There's so many. We just did an episode actually earlier today where we were talking about drop shipping. I mean, there's so many methods to make money in this space and in this game, and we just want to dive in and hear a little bit about your story. So let's start there. I mean, tell us about yourself. What were you doing previously? What are you doing now? How did you learn about this and want to get involved in it? And now you're doing Instagram and all kinds of stuff, putting out great content.
Yeah.
You got a few minutes here. Tell us your story.
Cool. Yeah. So you mentioned drop shipping. I've always wanted to kind of do something with online business. Just like you said, there's so many opportunities out there to go and make money online. And there's something different about it because it's not like any other job where you go, clock in, and leave. Like, it's almost like a magical feeling. Like when you make that first sale, it's just, there's nothing that really compares to it. So yeah, I was just a regular college student last year. With COVID and everything, I just kind of wanted to try something different. So I took a year off and I found this Amazon FBA thing on YouTube. There's so much information out there where you can learn to get started. So yeah, I just took on this book selling thing and started documenting the process, and here we are pretty much.
We can unpack a lot in that for sure. So you started researching it. You were looking to start flipping items. I'm assuming that you didn't have an unlimited budget, and that's part of why the flipping is it's an exciting opportunity to get in and start making money. What brought you towards books as opposed to all the other things that you can sell?
Yeah, I feel like with other ventures, not specifically Amazon, but other online businesses, it helps to have some seed money. And I started with probably $1,000, and I opened an LLC right away because I knew this was something I wanted to do for a while. So really only had about $300 for inventory, and books kind of seemed like the best way to spend that money and get a return on my investment. And it also seemed like the most legit way to get things done. Like I wasn't spending money on ads, and I was holding the products myself. And it just seemed like once I figured out the basics, it was something I could do consistently. And it's proven to work. So
let's dive into the basics. So semone's looking to get started, and books. I mean, let's face it. That's what Amazon was when it started. It was a bookseller. And they still are the largest bookseller ever, and it's just still a huge part of their business. But when you first started, what did you do? Where did you go? How did you try to? I mean, where did that sourcing start? How did that look?
Yeah. Well, first it was just consuming a ton of content on YouTube. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Caleb Roth, but he's been flipping books online for 7 to 10 years. So he has a ton of great stuff out there to help you get started. But the first time I actually went to go source was just a Goodwill 5 minutes from my house with my seller app, and I found a book that I could make $10 on, and yeah, it's really just going out there and taking action.
Yeah, and that is fun, isn't it? When you did that book sell right away?
No, it actually took a few weeks. The first book I sold was a book on how to make fermented sausages.
That sounds horrible.
I know. Um, yeah, but yeah, it's the books that you don't really expect to be worth a lot that are usually the ones that are.
Do you remember what you bought it for and what you sold it for?
I think it was. I mean, most of the books I buy for like $1,
Mhm.
and I sold it for probably 12, 13.
Okay.
So, yeah.
That,
The sausage. That's great.
The sausage book.
I'm telling you, when people talk about like the marketplace is saturated or there's it's so competitive. How many people are serving the fermented sausage niche? It's like
Not enough.
apparently not. Apparently not. You can sell a book for quite a bit of money. That's hilarious. I don't even know what that is. That
Yeah.
Doesn't
That's
matter as
somebody
long as it
needed
sells, right?
Exactly. Okay, so you sold that book and you're like, oh, okay, there's some seriousness. This is a model that can work.
Yeah.
So what did you start doing after that?
Well, I kind of had it all planned out after watching so much stuff on YouTube. Like Ray can post a lot of good videos. And then when I got Scout IQ and a Bluetooth scanner, then I just started to go. I made a little route of the Goodwills in my area and just stayed consistent. And I eventually built up my inventory to 500, 700 books. And yeah, just kind of.
What
It
what
just
is
kinda
that routine? What would that initial routine look like? I mean, were you going every day to all of them? Were you going once a week?
Yeah,
Was Goodwill
starting out,
your only place, or did you have other places that you were looking as well?
I've been to libraries, library sales, estate sales. So starting out, you kind of just gotta go all over the place, and eventually you'll stumble across a library or a thrift store that you can consistently go to that will have good items for you to look at. And then you can kind of build a routine around that. But starting out, I was just all over the place, trying to figure out what works, just scanning everything.
And
Yeah.
I always like asking this question because it's always different for everybody else. But what was your criteria for buying a book? I mean, what metrics did you have to meet when you scanned it? What were you looking at, and what things made it so? Oh, I'm going to buy this. This is going to work.
Right. So for books, the buy cost is always so low. So the beauty of it is, if I do make a bad buy, I'm only out $1, right? Whereas with private label or wholesale or OA, if you go deep on an item that ends up tanking in price, you could be out hundreds of dollars. With books, every buy really isn't as risky. But really, for my buying decisions, I rely a lot on Scout IQ. It'll say accept when I scan a book that meets its criteria. I usually look for an E-score of around 30, which is a metric that says how many times the book has sold in the past 180 days. And then obviously you guys know what sales rank is. But I've sold books with a rank of 3 million. So it really doesn't matter, in my opinion.
So that score, that like if it has a 30,
Yeah.
it sells 30 in 180 days on average.
Yep.
Okay. What about like other sellers on the listing? Does that come into the calculation?
Yeah. So for pricing the books, I usually do around 10% above the lowest used offer. And then if there are FBA offers, I'll typically match the lowest one. But it kind of gives you some opportunities to be creative if there aren't any FBA offers. So yeah.
Are you using a repricer on these as well?
I had Be Cool for a little bit, and I individually priced all the books that weren't selling. But but as of right now, I'm not using one. I probably should be. But it's different with books because each SKU is individual. So it's not like you buy like 10 of the same item and you can reprice them all at once. It's just all an individual listing. So that kind of makes it more difficult to do them individually, but I probably should invest in a repricer.
Makes sense.
We had another guy on that was flipping books, but he was buying like gaylords of books, and they were just coming in by the pallets, and he was just flipping them and scanning them. Are you to that level yet?
No, that's John Muscarello, right?
I believe
Yes.
so. Yeah,
Yeah,
it is.
He's actually a friend of mine that been talking to online, and he's actually looking to get out of the bulk book game. And I have a lot of guys who do it had advised me not to go to that level, like buying books by the pound, just because of the manual labor, and there's other opportunities that you can capitalize on with Amazon that don't take.
He was interesting because you remember, Chris, he came on and he was in his warehouse
and UPS showed up.
Huh? And UPS showed up and like he opened the gate and in comes this. I mean, those things are huge. I mean, there's gotta be tons of books in there. And yeah, the manual labor, because he mentioned that when he was on the podcast, he was like, yeah, he's trying to diversify into other areas. I don't know if he's going to totally give that up or not, but
I think he's looking to get rid of his warehouse entirely now. He's going full OA.
Yeah. I mean, it is a lot of manual work. And the one thing I've always wondered about books on, because I mean, I'll sell a book here and there, but it's usually a book that I bought and read, and I'll just, whenever I'm sending an inventory, I just throw it in there too. And I don't even care. I'm just trying to get rid of it. I don't even care what it does.
Yeah.
But grading the book, like new, there's all those different, used, good, used. I don't even know I can't remember all the different levels of grading. How important is getting that right?
So I think people have mixed opinions on it. At the very beginning, I was super tedious about it. But now I just list everything as good. Just because to save time.
Mm-hmm.
And I also I don't really think it matters that much. Like it's good, very good, like new, and acceptable. And I know a lot of booksellers that'll list everything as acceptable. But I think as long as your general overall condition of the stuff you're sending in is consistent, I would just say pick one and stick with it. That would be my advice.
Well, it sounds like good would have a better conversion rate.
Yeah. Yeah.
Acceptable. You don't want to get a book that's got like stains all over it and stuff. You can't hardly read it.
Right.
But I was thinking more of like, because a lot of the books that you make, a big chunk of money on would be like collectibles or something like that. I mean, do you run into those types of books where it's rare, people are looking for it, they're willing to pay a lot because they are a collector? I guess that's when it would matter a whole lot more.
Yeah, the most expensive book I sold was a book on German shotguns. And I sold it on eBay for $250, and I got it for $2 at a Goodwill. And there was another book I sent in FBA on grooming dogs. It wasn't super rare. It was spiral bound. And I sold that for $130, and I got it for $2 as well. So if you're starting out, like there's really no better way to maximize your capital, in my opinion.
Are you to the point now where you can just like go through the books and be like, yep, that's a good one. Yep, without even like scanning it, where you just know that certain niche it's going to sell no matter what?
So I like to call it a spidey sense. And I think some other sellers have it as well. Like over time, you'll kind of get an idea, but you never really know until you scan it. So that's kind of the interesting part about it. Like there's like little pamphlets that you can make $6 on, or magazines. Like you never really know until you scan it.
When you go to a Goodwill, are you just doing the book section, or do you ever kind of like wander off in like the clothing and the other section just to kind of peek at it?
Yeah, I've peeked around. I don't really have a trained eye as a thrifter. I wish I did. But I'm satisfied with the books for now.
So how many listings would you have live at any given time?
Right now, my inventory is around 900, which I want to get that up to a couple thousand, hopefully, in the next few months. But yeah, I sell about 1% of that every 1 to 2 days. So yeah, it's not bad.
And they're all FBA or FBM?
Yeah. There are people who merchant fulfill. And when the used offer is around the same price as the FBA offers, that's when it would make sense because you can squeeze out a few extra dollars. But I just think having Amazon do all the packing and shipping you can't really beat it.
That's why everyone gets into the Amazon game. They figured out a way to make a one-person show work. You don't have to have a warehouse. You don't have to have employees, but you do have to list all of those and you have to label them. Is there any prep work that's involved other than putting the label on? Do you have to polybag these things or anything like that?
No, in merchant fulfill, you do have to polybag. But starting out, like figuring all that process took me a few days. Just naturally, like I ran into some road bumps. But I use AccelerList for my books, which is kind of speeds up the process. But I just do 30 at a time. I found that to be the most efficient way to do it for me. And I just use Home Depot boxes, pack 30 of them in there. As long as it's under 50 pounds, I label all of them, put a shipping label on, and send it off.
What was the thing you mentioned about AccelerList? What was that?
AccelerList, yeah.
Are you familiar with that, Chris?
No, what's that do?
Yeah.
So basically, yeah, this thing here, just like a Bluetooth scanner. I'll scan the barcode in, and then it will pull up FBA and used offers, and I'll choose a price, do that for 30 books, and then I'll create the shipment, and then that shipment will be transferred into my seller account, and then from there I'll do the box contents, print the label, and then close it out. If that makes sense.
Yeah. So how does the listing get into your account, in your seller account?
They like the software links with your store.
So when you scan it, it also creates the active listing in your inventory?
Yes.
Damn, that's quick.
Yeah.
Does that work for anything?
Yeah, it works for a lot of stuff. Yeah.
Dustin's gonna buy it, guarantee.
There's also Inventory Lab, which I've heard of, that people use for online arbitrage. I don't know if you guys use that.
I don't know.
But this little thing, if you scan gun, just scan the UPC code, and it creates a listing, and then you can also create a shipment.
Yep.
With just a quick scan.
Yeah. You guys do all your stuff through Seller Central?
Well, for private label, yes, for sure.
Yeah.
But that's the beauty of private label. You do it one time and you can send in thousands of units. But like I was telling you before we went live, I've got into online arbitrage, and that's the biggest hassle right now is going and like adding a product, you know, manually through there. Just out of curiosity. Okay, I got to walk through this. So is Seller Central open on your computer and you scan it and then that pops up, or is it through the software?
No, everything's through the software. And then I create the shipment in the software, and then it transfers over. I don't know. It's like magic.
And the Amazon UPS labels come through the software that get created by Amazon.
You can print the UPC labels through the software, but I print the shipping labels in Seller Central.
Interesting. That speeds it up.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, especially if you got a ton of books.
Yeah,
Scan.
It's pretty quick. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's the other advantage with at least the online arbitrage I'm doing. I'm doing lots of units of the same product.
Yeah.
So but if each product was individual, that's where
Right.
that thing would come in very handy.
Yeah, and then if you were to use the software for one product, you could just scan it in once and then put the quantity at whatever quantity you bought, choose a price, and create it, and then you're good.
I will look into that. What say the software again?
Accelerlist?
Okay. You need some sort of like commission from them for
Yeah, I know, right?
You said it like 6 times on here.
I'll clip it and send it to them.
Yeah, absolutely. You should.
Well, so do you know now, like when your Goodwills restock, like every Thursday they restock before the weekend, or is it like every Wednesday? Like, do you have that set
I
up?
usually go on Tuesdays because I use my old student ID for 15% off. There's anyone out there that wants to use that trick.
That's a true hustler right there.
I don't know. It might be different because the Goodwills in different areas all have different policies and discounts, but the Finger Lakes region students get 15% off on Tuesday.
So you're getting your books for 85 cents instead of $1.
Yeah.
Probably goes in on like Sunday and scans the ones he wants and just puts them in a pile. And he's like, "Okay, on Tuesday I'm gonna come back and buy these." And that's what I would do.
Oh yeah. So when you go to libraries, how does that work? You just walk in and do they do sales periodically of old books? Or?
So booksalefinder.com, libraries will post ads for sales coming up. I know there's one coming up in like 10 days. And this is a tip for new booksellers. If you reach out to these libraries and say, "Hey, are you guys having like a preview sale?" You can go before everybody else and scan some books. But the one I was at recently, I left with about 100. So
how long did that take you? How long did that take you to go through everything?
About an hour and a half, probably. I mean, if you got a bad back and bad knees, I mean, good luck at these things. But
what do you think you'll profit off those 100 books?
Anywhere from 500 to 1,000.
That's a nice hour and a half worth of work.
Yeah. But books are some of them take longer to sell than others. Like it's and Amazon, obviously, you guys know it's a cash flow game. So yeah, you gotta find out what works best for you, I think.
What other sources do you use besides just like Goodwills or thrift stores? Is it like garage sales? Go to like a garage sales, or even post something on Marketplace and be like, "Hey, I'm trying to buy books" or something?
Yeah, I've done that too. I've put ad on Nextdoor app and said, "Hey, I pick up books for free," and I've gotten some decent inventory doing that. But yeah, it's pretty much thrift stores, sales, estate sales, and free pickups. That's pretty much my strategy.
What have you been burned? I mean, because a couple of things that I've wondered is like worst case scenarios, you ship in a whole bunch of books and they don't sell. They're sitting there. Okay. What do you do with that when if you've got books that are lingering and it's a cash flow game, you need that. Even if you just got your money back, that's fine. What do you just start dropping the price? I mean, I guess if that price was the issue, that would work. But if it's no one's looking for it, then that's a whole nother issue.
Yeah. So that's why I had Be Cool for a little bit. I might download it again. But yeah, if sales are starting to dry up, I'll go back in and check that out. And like you said, if I break even if I lose a couple cents on a book, it's not a big deal. So yeah.
So what's next for you? You've been doing this. Sounds like you've got this. It's going. Is this your full-time income at the moment?
Yeah, pretty much. I do this, and then I'll do like some food deliveries every now and then. But yeah, it's pretty much just.
Here's your DoorDash. Got any books?
I love it.
Yeah, seriously.
That's a great source.
Like you bring in their food, and then you're like, "Here, I'll give you $20. Let me get all your books."
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what's
Yeah.
next? What's next for you? You mentioned you're looking at potentially online arbitrage. Have you dabbled in that so far?
Yeah. I just got ungated in Nike. So I have some Nike stuff on the way that'll be here
Well,
this week.
that's a big idea. What'd you do there? How'd that work
Yeah.
out? I know that's kind of hard.
So you really just need to order 10 units. I used Eastbay. I just ordered 10 Elite socks. And then you scan the invoice into a PDF and submit it to Amazon under the same listing that you bought. And then 3 or 4 days later, they'll get back to you saying you were approved or you weren't approved. It took me 3 or 4 tries submitting it, but eventually they let me through, and so I can sell Nike stuff now.
And you're ungated for all Nike now.
Yes.
So
now, what's the play there? Because Nike doesn't sell on Amazon, right? Like they sell direct to consumer, I think, or do they sell on Amazon now?
Yeah, third-party sellers can sell Nike stuff on Amazon,
but Nike themselves doesn't sell.
I don't believe so.
And so I'm just trying to follow the process. Now third-party sellers can just basically buy from Nike and just up the price a little bit on Amazon because Nike themselves is no longer selling to Amazon. That's pretty much the play, I think.
Yeah.
So, okay. So, but you didn't buy it from Nike. You bought it from a distributor?
Yes, Eastbay.
Just to get approved.
Just so I could get approved, yeah.
Okay, wait. We're gonna get we got all kinds
Eastbay, like the magazine you used to get.
Eastbay. Okay, and so on their platform, you just order, because I know I have to get ungated for a lot of categories myself, and they always say you have to have an invoice of at least 10 from either the brand or a distributor.
Yeah.
Your play was just go buy 10. It doesn't cost you that much, and you bought socks, so that was cheap already.
Yep.
And then you got ungated for the whole category.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the thing with selling books too is I got auto ungated in beauty and grocery, which are popular products for OA sellers.
So this OA. So now are you trying to find as much Nike stuff as you can?
Yeah, sorta. I mean, I'm still kind of getting my feet wet in the OA game, and then doing books as well. But yeah, just kind of taking it day by day.
That's awesome. So on top of doing all of this, and you mentioned it at the beginning, you document a lot of your processes, and I'm sure like successes and failures and all that stuff, and you're putting it out there.
Yeah.
So where can people find all of this content you're putting out?
Yeah, it's just Billy Flips _ on Instagram. That's where I post a lot of like stuff where you'll see me doing things, and then I'm also on Twitter, and that's really just like banter, chit chat stuff. I don't really give out a ton of advice on there. And then I made a YouTube channel too. That's just Billy Flips as well, that I'm gonna start posting stuff on.
Nice. Well, if anybody out there is interested in this, they need to go check it out. I mean,
yeah.
You follow Gary Vaynerchuk?
I do, yeah.
I mean, I love watching it's hilarious to see this mogul going around to like garage
sales.
He's like freaks out over coffee mugs and all this stuff. I mean,
the trenches. It's the trenches.
Yeah. I mean,
that's what I call it.
It's awesome. It's interesting it's so funny. It's like, don't you run like a giant marketing agency and aren't you
the treasure hunt? I don't think leaves, right? Like once you do once you get into it, that's what we talked about. Let's go to like a Target, like when our wives go shopping, like, let me go over here to clearance aisle real quick. Let me see what's going on. Let's go see what's going on.
I definitely do that. I mean, I'll drop my son off at baseball practice and I'm like, oh my gosh, I got an hour and a half to kill. I'm going to Walmart clearance.
Yeah.
Let's go and just start going scanning stuff. And I'll find stuff all the time. I mean, every time I go, I find stuff to flip. But really, the flip game is everything. Everything. Yeah. It doesn't matter what you're doing. If you own a car dealership, you're flipping cars. Right. It's what everything comes down to that. And so I think it's just a skill you learn how to find. You're basically finding opportunities. you're finding opportunities, and you're doing a service because you're getting a product to a market that's underserved for that product. If someone's looking for a sausage book, fermented sausage book, I mean, it's not like you can go to Barnes and Noble probably and find that book.
Exactly.
So you're providing a service.
That's why I don't get people who are upset at resellers and call them scalpers. It's like, the only reason you're finding this item on Amazon is because I was in some dusty Goodwill finding a sausage book. Like,
and they pay a little extra, so they don't have to travel to upstate New York and find the same dusty Goodwill that you were in. I mean, that's I have this argument all the time with people as well, because I'm like, it is a massive service to people. And I say the same thing. It's like, have you ever bought a car at a used car dealership? That was a guy who found the car you needed, brought it to your town, and sold it for like $5,000 more. And you were more than happy to do it, because how are you going to find that car? That was the one you were looking for, and that other person was the one to do the work. It's a service. Yeah, I'm of the same mindset. And anybody who gets upset at that is like, okay, well, the next time you want something that you can't find, you're not going to find it. It's just like, I agree totally. This is fun. I love going down different avenues like this. It's just fun. It's fun for us to hear people's stories, hear what they're doing. I've already found some new software tools. Thank you. We'll explore those, test them out, and see how they work. But everybody should go follow you, Billy Flips. If anybody, everyone can remember that. Billy Flips, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube.
I got some comments here.
Yeah. Josh is watching. He's like, it is gold. I mean, that's the flip game. I mean, in one sentence. It's like,
that sums it up.
And you found a fermented sausage book that you got a like 400% ROI on. Perfect. Yeah. Do it 1,000 times and you're golden. You don't need a job anymore. Awesome. Well, Billy Flips, thanks for joining us, man. Thanks for telling your story.
This was fun. This was a good, just nice, casual conversation. I love it.
Yeah, I love it too. Yeah. So we'll get you back on 6 months or so in the future after you've mastered the OA game. We'll hear your new tactics and tricks that you've got rolling there. And Josh just commented again. He's from Kansas City. Nice.
Oh, nice.
Chiefs Kingdom.
Chiefs Kingdom. That's exactly right. Yeah. Oh man. Well, thanks, Billy. Billy Flips. I almost didn't even finish the thing.
It's call him Billy Flips.
Thanks for joining us. We really appreciate it. And everybody who's tuning in right now, if you love hearing stories like this, if you like tuning in and listening to an expert in Amazon or anything in e-commerce, we have them on almost every day. It's just so much fun. We learn about them. We learn their stories. It's a way to network and learn what's going on in the industry. We absolutely love it. So make sure you subscribe to our podcast. We're on every podcast platform out there. Subscribe and make sure you get notified when we have new episodes dropping. Also, you can see these live streams on Solozo's social media platforms. So LinkedIn, YouTube, Facebook. They're all there. You can see all of our past episodes. Also, if you are a private label seller or wholesaler or any kind of seller and you're doing advertising on Amazon, Solozo is a platform that can help automate and optimize your ads for you, and we'd love to show you all about it. So go to solozo.com. You can book a demo. You get to talk to me and Chris. We'll talk about anything, and we'll show you the power of our platform to help take that workload off your plate and allow you to focus on the things that you really want to focus on to help grow your business. So go to solozo.com right now and book a demo. All right, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. Billy Flips, thanks for all the great stories and joining us.